is a new year filled with new possibilities and hopefully a ton of riders looking to join us in the ADV community. I've covered this topic before and I'll link those videos too, but new bikes are released every year, so it makes sense to revisit this topic from time to time. A new year seemed like a good reason. I'm not an expert, but as the focus of my channel is and always has been helping new riders find their way into the world of ADV, it's realistic to say that I probably interact with more brand new ADV riders than pretty much anyone else out there. If you're thinking about buying your first adventure bike or just shopping for another one, let's talk about the bikes I've found to be the most useful and forgiving for the new rider. First, a few qualifying criteria, just so you understand my point of view. 1, ADV bike in this instance means an off-road capable bike also suited for comfortable highway travel. 2, new riders are often new mechanics as well, so I try to suggest bikes that can be counted on to be reasonably reliable and not need a bunch of fixes. Yes, you can save money with a project bike, a used bike, an older bike, but my goal is to get people out there and riding as soon as possible, not talk them into a puzzle they have to solve first just so they can save a few bucks. There are a ton of hidden expenses that come with jumping into bike ownership, and I strongly encourage new riders to get good gear because they're going to need it. So I tend to err on the side of cheaper bikes so that people have money left over to get gear, luggage, mods, upgrades, etc. I also want to recommend a bike that you can grow into rather than out of. I don't want the bike to be the limiting factor as your skills improve. Every bike I recommend is one you can both start on and eventually ride to and through a BDR on, if you so choose. Every bike here is one I would take on the Oregon BDR tomorrow, or, well, this summer, because right now it's under 6 feet of snow. I also strongly believe that learning to ride off-road on a heavy bike is counterproductive and dangerous, so I'll always point people toward the smallest bike that'll do what they want to do. And 6, if it were up to me, everyone would start on a small dual sport like a TW200 or a KLX 230. Something like that that's easy to ride and maintain, and it's cheap and easy to pick up. That said, if you plan on doing half your ride on pavement and half off, then it can make sense to start with an ADV bike. And if you're going that way, I want you to at least be pointed in the right direction. That's enough qualification. Let's talk about recommendations, and I'm not gonna make you wait to the end of the video to hear all 5. Here are the 5 bikes I would recommend looking at, and then we'll talk about why I've chosen each one. Number 1, Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. Number 2, CFMoto Ibex 450. Number 3, the KTM 390 Adventure R. Number 4, the Honda CRF 300L Rally, which is technically a dual sport, but just trust me. And the number 5 bike is speculative, but from what I can tell, it's built exactly for the entry-level adventure rider, and that is the upcoming Kawasaki KLE 500. So let's talk about each bike individually. First, the Himalayan 450. The Himalayan is a 452cc single with approximately 40 horsepower. It weighs 432 pounds, has 9.1 inches of ground clearance. Seat height ranges from 32.5 to 33.3. Suspension travels 7.9 inches. It has a fuel capacity of 4.5 gallons and retails for around $6,000. The Himalayan is best for rugged adventure touring and ease of use. The standout features include Google Maps powered TFT navigation, massive low-end torque, and a very approachable adjustable seat height. So you should get the Himalayan if you love retro styling and you like that sweet round display. If you don't want to worry about suspension settings and all that because it's not adjustable. If you want to spend as little as possible, it's the cheapest bike on the list, and or if you have a Royal Enfield dealer nearby, you'll find that this is a theme. The Himalayan, in my opinion, punches way above its weight. You can watch my Colorado BDR video for proof. I followed Wally up and over Corkscrew, Cinnamon, and California Pass in Colorado. He was riding a Himalayan 450 and did not miss a beat. In fact, I could hardly keep up with him. That bike, despite its perceived limitations, and I don't even think there are many of those, does really well. And it's a hell of a package for what you pay. If you want a very capable bike that can cruise at 80 on the freeway, wrapped in an inexpensive retro-inspired package, you cannot beat the Himalayan. Reasons to avoid the Himalayan? It has the least suspension travel, suspension is not adjustable, and it's the heaviest on the list, although not by much, a few pounds. And in my experience, it's kind of weirdly top heavy, even though it's pretty lightweight overall. I don't know, it just always felt kind of heavy to me, so that's been my personal experience. Second bike on the list is the CFMoto Ibex 450. The Ibex, it has a 449cc parallel twin. That is an important distinction. It has 44 horsepower, it weighs 426 pounds-ish, 8.7 inches of ground clearance. The seat height is adjustable, 31.5 to 32.3 inches. Suspension travels 7.9 inches, fuel capacity 4.6 gallons, and the price, on the Ibex remains $64.99 US. So the Ibex is best for smooth highway cruising combined with technical trails. It's one of the few bikes in the class with a parallel twin engine and only one of two on this list, which provides a smoother, more big bike feel on tarmac. It's not revving out so high. I really like the character of a twin more personally, particularly on the street, but your mileage may vary. It comes standard with tubeless spoked wheels and a fully adjustable KYB suspension. Nothing else has tubeless wheels. Get the Ibex if you want the most bang for your buck. If you love the feel of a twin cylinder engine like I do, if you're going to be spending 50% of your time on the highway but want to thrash the hardest stuff possible when you leave it, check out my Death Valley videos if you want to see what it can do. My Ibex has taken everything I've thrown at it and kept on smiling. If you want to be able to just plug your tire and go rather than have to worry about swapping tubes, well, the Ibex is your only choice, and it's also a good choice if you have a CFMoto dealer nearby. Reasons to avoid the Ibex: you hate Chinese bikes, which a lot of people do, so you do you. Also avoid it if you want the option to add cruise control because it has a throttle cable, so no aftermarket digital cruise control can be added. At least not at this point. The third best beginner ADV bike, and again, in no particular order that I would recommend you look at, is the KTM 390 Adventure R. Specs on the KTM 390 Adventure R: it has a 399cc single-cylinder engine making about 44 horsepower. It weighs 388 pounds, has 10.7 inches of ground clearance, a seat height of 34.3 inches, 9.1 inches of suspension travel, a 3.7 gallon fuel tank, and it retails for around $7,069.99 US. The 390 is best for aggressive off-roading and it has the most high-tech performance. Its standout features include the most advanced electronic suite. It's got ride modes, cornering ABS, traction control. To be clear, I'm talking about the 2025 and up KTM 390 Adventure R. The previous KTM 390 Adventures were not a bike I would recommend to you, much less suspension travel. Just the 2025 and up, and we're talking about the R specifically. So you should get the KTM 390 Adventure R if you want the most performance and the most advanced technology, as well as the lightest ADV bike style motorcycle on the market right now. Again, it's only like 10 pounds, but it is the lightest. If you want the option for factory cruise control, although that's not yet available in the US, but they do have it in other countries, so I would assume it's coming eventually. You should avoid the KTM 390 Adventure R if you are uncertain about KTM's future and dealer support based on all the recent turmoil. Though of all the bikes they make, I would expect that the Indian-made bikes like the 390 are going to be the safest because the company that bought them is Bajaj and they make those. Don't buy the 390 if you have reliability concerns. I think it's new enough that we're not sure if it's going to have those, but it is a KTM, so grain of salt it. And don't buy the 390 Adventure R if you hate the color orange, because wow, does it have a lot. Fourth bike on the list is 300L Rally. And yeah, technically a dual sport, but if you look at what's been done to it, the way they've modified it from the factory, it is definitely more of an adventure style. I would call it a light adventure bike, and it's one of my favorite adventure bikes. The 300L Rally has a 286cc single-cylinder engine making 27 horsepower, so yeah, that's the lowest on the list. It weighs 335 pounds wet. That is the lowest on the list. Has 10.9 inches of ground clearance. That is the highest on the list. Seat height of 35.2 inches. That is also the highest, although very manageable and not the highest by a lot. Suspension travel, 10.2 inches, highest on the list. Fuel capacity, 3.4 gallons, lowest on the list. And the MSRP is anywhere from $6,200 to $6,500 if you're going to buy a new one at the dealership. Tons of used ones out there too. So the 300L Rally is best for off-road exploring, taking on the most technical, difficult terrain. Standout features: by far the lightest, like I said. It makes it the easiest to handle in deep sand and mud. It has the highest ground clearance but the least power, making it great for technical trails. It's got good low-end grunt, but not as good on a long-distance highway drive, ride, whatever. So get the 300L if you want the absolute highest possible off-road capability and reliability in a bike that is still tolerable on the highway. I didn't say comfortable, I said tolerable. If you aren't going to be riding hours and hours to get where you're going to ride dirt, the 300 is a good choice. If you want a simple, reliable, classic Honda design, and if you have a Honda dealer nearby, it's a no-brainer. If you're thinking adventure bikes and the 300L is not on your list, not on your radar, definitely consider it. Even if you're not seriously considering it, it's worth a look. Trust me, I had one forever. Favorite bike of all time. Avoid the 300L Rally if you want maximum horsepower or have to do a lot of freeway, because you are not going to be cruising at 80, 85. 75 on a good day, at least with someone my size on it. The last bike on the list is the Kawasaki KLE 500. I have spent a lot of time on the previous 4 bikes. I've owned 3. 2 of them are currently in the garage, and I had a long-term Himalayan loaner. But obviously I haven't spent any time on the KLE because it's not out yet. So this is speculative based on the specs that we know. The KLE 500, which will be out in a month or two, should be at this point, early 2026. It is a 451cc parallel twin, so it's the only other twin engine motor. That is the engine from the Kawasaki Eliminator and one other bike which is escaping me right now, but it is a street bike engine. The KLE 500 weighs 428 pounds, which is very light, wet. It has the least ground clearance at 7.3 inches. It has a seat height of 34.3 inches, suspension travel of 8.3 inches in the front and 7.7 in the rear. Everyone wants to get all butthurt about the suspension travel on this, but it's more in the front than the Himalayan and the Ibex, and just slightly less, 0.2 inches less in the rear. The KLE has a fuel capacity of 4.2 gallons, and the entry-level model of the KLE is $65.99 US. There's also another model that costs $1,000 more, which does not seem to be worth it in my book. The KLE 500 is going to be best for street-biased adventure. It's definitely going to be the best bike on the street, but I do think it's going to have the chops to handle anything up to and including a BDR. It's also got that Kawasaki reliability. So again, there's only 2 Japanese bikes on the list. They're both going to be the most reliable. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Standout features on the KLE, that 451cc twin engine from the Ninja 500 or the Eliminator, gives it the highest horsepower in the group. It's got a more street-oriented ground clearance, but it maintains a 21-inch front. And that's why this bike is on the list, and some other bikes that you might expect to see, like the BMW 450 GS, are not on this list because they don't have a 21-inch front. And if you're gonna ride off-road, I think a 21-inch front is absolutely worth it. You give up almost nothing on the street, and you're just that much more capable when you leave it. Everyone wants to hate on the suspension travel and clearance of the KLE, but it's got more than both the Versys X300 and the NX500. It's got more suspension travel and pretty much equal clearance to the new 450 GS, and it has slightly more suspension travel than the KLR 650, though it does have an inch less clearance. It's also got more suspension travel than the Transalp 750, the 750 and 850 GS, the BMW 310 GS, and the V-Strom 650. My point is, it is more off-road capable than most of the streetier bikes that you see. I don't know if it's a true 50-50 bike, but it's definitely on the dirtier end of the dirty street bike category. So get the KLE 500 if you want the streetiest of the options on the list with the most horsepower and a twin-cylinder engine. If you're gonna do more than 50% of your riding on the pavement, it's worth considering, and get the KLE if you want the newest and most coolest, brand new, just came out, new hotness bike. Avoid it if you have concerns about the first year of a new model, which, yeah, but it's a Kawasaki, so it should be fine. It's not a new motor. You want maximum ground clearance, or you're just annoyed that Kawasaki has the audacity to charge an extra $1,000 for a nicer display, a bigger windscreen, handguards, and a skid plate. What is that? My personal philosophy is that an adventure bike should be as off-road capable as possible. If you're just going to be doing well-manicured gravel roads, then pretty much any motorcycle will do. But if you want to get off the beaten path and explore on an affordable bike that is capable and easy enough for a new rider to handle, then I wholeheartedly recommend these 5 choices. Now, if you want to know which adventure bikes I do not recommend for beginners, make sure that you subscribe because that might just be the next video. If you would consider using my affiliate links to places like Rocky Mountain ATV, Amazon, Revzilla, Moto Camp Nerd, Moscow Moto, Butler Maps, and a ton of other places, all of which are linked in a pinned comment below. You can support the channel while buying stuff you were buying anyway. You pay no extra, and you get to ensure that dorky motorcycling content continues to be produced. I appreciate all of you who have done and who continue to do that. And if you haven't yet, you might want to take a look because there's also some promo codes that can save you some money in that list. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!